Hello, everybody. Welcome into the final hour of Fantasy Fest 2026. I am Ryan Wormeli, joined by Chris Welsh and by the wonky penguin herself, Kelly Kirby. Kelly, thank you so much for hopping in. You have, of course, been participating with the fest in the chat and everything like that, but thanks for hopping on to do a little mock draft with us.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, if I get the first pick, Chase Dollander's got to be the choice, right? Like, is that what I just learned? Right. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah.
That's the only takeaway from the show so far.
The only one so far.
All right. Well, looks like the room is not quite full yet. We'll do a couple of auto picks here, and I think we can get going. I actually cannot control the draft.
I will hit start on it because I actually was the one that started that. I just put in one last time. A couple of people said they couldn't get in. You know why you can't get in? I'll just point out is to make sure you have your FantasyPros account, your free account. You get that logged in. You can do all the mock drafts. Just make sure you have a FantasyPros account. But oh, look at that! That just got one. Actually one more.
Oh, we only need one. We're close.
By the way, take it. Let's also get a poll out. Who is going to win this? You can't see what players or pick we have, but if we can get a poll out from our guys, who is going to win this mock draft? Worm, Kelly, Welsh, or other? Or maybe we shouldn't do other. Should we do other?
Well, yeah, let's do what it'll because statistically it's probably another. So let's do like it. Who of the three of us will score highest?
Yeah. So then just us. Okay, here we go.
And I can tell you it won't be me. I played too many keeper leagues in baseball, so then when it comes time to do an actual normal mock draft, it always throws me off because I've been prepping for all the keepers and dynasty stuff. By the way, just to let everybody know, today's live mock draft is done using our Draft Wizards mock draft lobby. Just like you'll see today, our mock draft lobby allows you to practice quick and fun mock drafts against both real and computer players using the same easy-to-use interface as our mock draft simulator. Check out both our mock draft lobby and the draft simulator at fantasypros.com/MLB draft wizard. All right, we will go ahead.
You got the first pick, Worm.
Isn't that just beautiful?
What a scam this is.
By the way, I'm going to ask people to go relatively quickly on their picks. We have a full minute clock here, so that can tend to drag out if people take a full minute every time. So obviously, sometimes we will be talking during our picks and go a little longer, but as a general rule, if you could not take the full 60 seconds, that would be much appreciated. Number one pick. I have not had the number one pick in any league, so I was not actually even really thinking about this. I'm going to go with a player who I absolutely despise because he plays in the Yankees, but I'll just take Aaron Judge, just an immensely great hitter. A little bit of extra risk with Ohtani. And so I'll just go with the other guy who's super awesome. You can't go wrong with the first pick, these first couple of names.
No, you really can't. I'm a little surprised you went Judge over Ohtani, though. I was not expecting that.
I could have gone either way, of course. But again, they're both awesome. So I'm happy to do whatever.
I'm up here. Bobby Witt is I'm going to pivot just slightly, and I'm going to go with Juan Soto. I love the shortstop position. I'm going to pivot out. The stolen bases kind of made a complete change for me with Juan Soto. Full 5 categories, and I feel like I'm going to get a shortstop a little bit later that I really like. So I was tempted at Jose Ramirez, though. But Juan Soto is my third pick. Bobby Witt still on the board. But Kelly will have to wait all the way at the 8th pick.
Yeah.
I will. I feel like I've ended up 8th a lot in these, no matter how many teams there are. So
Kelly, what do you think about Soto going ahead of Witt?
I mean, I get it. I get it. I'm just afraid his stolen base total isn't going to come close to where he was at last year. So I think I would still take Witt there. But really, those first 4 or 5, you can almost shuffle them and pull one out, and I think you're going to be okay.
Well, one thing I will say on taking Judge, this is my own fault for not really looking at the lineups. I usually play in 5 outfielder leagues. This is a 3 outfielder league, so that might have swayed my decision. No excuses. I'm just throwing it out there. Kelly, who are you hoping gets to you with the 8th pick?
Well, I have yet to take a pitcher in the first round in any of these, I think. And I will not get the chance now. So that is fantastic. Thank you so much.
You'll still get you. You don't like Paul Skeens?
I don't. Wins count, right? Yeah, I don't know. And if we're doing head to head, I don't like Julio. This is kind of messy. Yeah.
I think you're talking yourself out of the whole pitcher thing with Skeens. Like Skeens isn't as good as Skubal.
Oh no, I mean I think he is. I just also buy into Joe's idea that he might throw too hard and go down quickly. But you know what? Let's just do it because why not?
Because mock drafts are for practicing and trying out things to see how you like it. That's what they're all about. That's why
and for winning. today.
And actually at the end being the #1 finisher with the best grade that like says, Welsh loves your team the most. And Kelly, of course, hates it. That's usually
we have a bunch of chats from throughout the show that we still have starred here. So I think we're going to pull some of those up while we do this mock draft. And we'll hit on some of the big picks and everything and react to some of those, but we also want to answer these questions. Let's throw one up here. And we got, fellas, I got offered Brown and Lodolo for Wheeler and Alcantara. Should I take it, Welsh?
So Brown, was it Hunter Brown and Lodolo for Wheeler and Alcantara? That's actually a pretty tough one. I mean, Hunter Brown is just hands down the best pitcher out of this. I think this is one of those, like, it's Brown, Wheeler, Alcantara, Lodolo. I would probably go with Hunter Brown on that one. Wheeler's coming back, especially if this is also a keeper. Then I think I would want Hunter Brown long term. So
what are you doing in general with Wheeler this season, Welsh?
I was weird about him to start, but I've really turned a corner. Like the team is really positive about him. He's been, kind of getting that work in the backfields. Doesn't look like he's going to miss a long time. And here's been my mental approach. I'm treating him like those young pitchers. So we didn't get to talk about this earlier, but what I wanted to bring up was like Cam Schlittler versus Zach Wheeler. I'm just treating him like those young guys who it's like, we don't want to project the top end of innings or anything like that, because we know he could be a top 10 pitcher when he's healthy and he's out there. So if you believe the stuff is going to be there, then I am drafting him, and I am drafting him in a lot of spots. I took him in TGFBI and just like I said, get some safety arms and take the huge upside. I had a lot of people cursing me in TGFBI when I took Zach Wheeler as well. Just pointing that out. Steve Gardner. So
Kelly, walk me through your pick of Vlad to pair with Paul Skeens.
Yeah, I've never started like this in my life. But the 3 outfield thing really swings it for me. I agree with Welsh entirely that shortstop, I feel like I can still get a really good one in a 10-team league a couple rounds later. I thought about Carroll like pretty hard because I think that he may be starting to fall further than what I want him to, but I think
he's today.
Yeah, he's climbing back up in the NFBC leagues. But in general, I think for me, Vlad is the top first baseman, and I see the cliff there a little bit faster than in the other positions except for third. So
Welsh is on the clock here. Kelly, while he's making his pick, we did get a question earlier about how far we're moving up Corbin Carroll with recent health news. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, I like him. Like I've been doing a lot of 15-team drafts, and I think like right at that turn has been great. But in my TGFBI, I actually took him 12th just because I think he's climbing back in, and I'm not as worried as I was right when it started, because I feel like for him, the recovery from a hamate bone, it might go faster than it will for Lindor with age.
I'm on the clock here. Welsh, you took Junior Caminero, who I was eyeing here at the end of round 2. So you got him before I could get him. Walk us through that pick.
Yeah, 3 picks before were that was my cue. There was a little bit of, I was going to be like, oh man, if Carroll or Julio fell all the way back to me and I took an outfielder with a 3 outfield, I wouldn't have hated having Bobby Witt and then Carroll. But that didn't happen. It went Gunnar Henderson, Carroll, Julio Rodriguez. They would have been no-brainers. I'm very much in on Junior Caminero, especially a format like this. If I can have like a dominant, like projecty 40 type of homer guy out of a position that is a little at third base, like Junior Caminero, I take in the second round of any format, and it made a ton of sense. So now I've got, Julio, I've got Juan with the big batting average and some stolen bases and massive power at an infield spot. And that's what I wanted when I took Soto. I didn't want to take 2 outfielders in a 3 outfield league if I could, and that ended up working out.
Yeah, I go with Pete Alonso and Cal Raleigh. I do probably have Kurtz higher than Alonso, but this is a mock and it's fun, and I want to take the Orioles, so I took the polar bear. And then Cal Raleigh. The smaller the league, the more willing I am to take somebody these sort of more luxury positions early. So a 10-team league, 3 outfielders, not gonna be a ton of players drafted. I'm feeling pretty good about certainly the power that I have on this team with Judge, Alonso, and Cal Raleigh. I wanted to ask Welsh. Well, you just made another pick here with Schwarber. Before I get too far past the first round, I just want to quickly ask: Skubal, Skeens, and Crochet were the 3 names to go. Should all 3 of those guys be first-round picks?
I mean, from a talent perspective, sure, but I just am not into pitchers in the first round. Is there a scenario where in a 15-team league would I take? Yeah, maybe I would take one of them. Definitely if Skubal fell, I could see myself doing it. I just can't stomach all of them, but like they are 3 elitely like tiered above. You know, Crochet maybe is like 1B, the others are 1A, that I think they justify being there, but it's not my draft strategy or cup of tea.
Yeah. Well, sticking with you, Kyle Schwarber as your pick. What was your mindset there?
Well, I was really contemplating, and I kind of thought I was going to get Ketel Marte and just, you know, again, shore up. We don't have corner. We don't have middle in this. We're doing, you know, just infield, 3 outfield, 2 util with our pitching spots. But Kyle Schwarber was there, and that's another 40 home run hitter. So I've now taken 2 40 home run plus hitters with great RBIs and runs, and I paired them with Juan Soto, who helps in a little bit of a protection from the batting average standpoint. So I will have to deal with stolen bases later, but in a 10-team league, I think there's just a lot more options I'm going to be able to pick back up. I think the arms race, if you will, in a 10-team league is homers, and you're living proof of it. You're just taking 50 home run guys left and right. Yeah. So I want to keep up with that, and I think Schwarber was just like an absolute no-brainer. Plus, we have 2 util. He does qualify at outfield in this what we're doing here, but 2 util, I'd be fine with taking him in the 3rd round.
Kelly, let me throw another question from the chat your way. What starting pitcher should we be looking at to stash this year? As a former Skeens and Bubba stasher, do we have a key guy in the minors?
Oh no. I would kick that to Welsh. I'm not, he's more the prospect guy than I am. I'm trying to think.
I was going to let him follow up and tell you were right or wrong with
exactly. No, now, you know, Bogman's in the chat. I'm not going to sweat on this and have him yell at me. So I'm going to kick it to Welsh for this one.
He was already pretty happy you were sweating.
I know. Well, I don't know how to do this pitcher first round thing, but I'm working on it.
Okay, right, so what is this? Who are you stashing?
So this is what SB should we be looking to stash it this year as a former? Oh, okay. I got it. Well, I think the guys are kind of at the top. I think Andrew Painter is one of the top. I guess a bigger thing to put is I don't know if there is like 100% a Bubba Chandler that like we expected. Like Andrew Painter's the top, but there's kind of some negativity. The other guys are already there. I'm going to pull up my prospect list here to see if one sparks for me. Kate Anderson would be one I'm looking for. I just don't know how. Oh, I've got the one. But Kate Anderson would be one if they end up pushing and, you know, they had rotation issues or whatever. I would want him. But the one is Robbie Snelling. Robbie Snelling kind of got blocked when they brought in Chris Paddock. I think Robbie Snelling is a phenomenal, good strikeout, great stuff. Velo came back, everything, all worlds type of pitcher. And he's just blocked right now. So that would be a guy that I'm really paying attention to.
This is more of a deeper league name, and I'm just throwing him out there because he's an Oriole. So he's not on the level of the guys.
Oh, an Oriole, huh?
Well, I do think Trey Gibson is a like sneaky, like a guy who in the second half of the season, he's going to come up and get an opportunity this year. The Orioles really like him. And I think he's pretty undervalued as a pitching prospect. I'm just throwing out his name because I think he's undervalued. He's not on the level of the guys you just said. I fully recognize that. Kelly, walk us through your picks of Trey Turner and Chris Sale, your last 2 picks.
Yeah, so this is, I really wanted Machado and I wanted Alvarez, and they went right before me. So I pivoted and got a guy that's going to contribute in all 5 categories. His projections are actually pretty solid across the board. It locks in some stolen bases from me, takes care of the shortstop position because we were starting to get into that back half of that tier 1. So I wanted to grab one. And then with Chris Sale, I'm just a huge believer in Chris Sale. I think that, you know, if he can stop avoiding freak accidents, he's got the strikeout numbers. So between him and Skeens, I'm cruising in that area.
I'm up on the clock here. I've already got an outfielder, a first baseman, and a catcher. No pitchers yet. Of course, a lot of people don't have pitchers yet. I kind of like the idea, especially because it's the hitters that I like here most are outfielders. So since it's 3 outfielder league and I already have Aaron Judge, I think I'm going to double up at pitcher. I will go with Logan Gilbert and a guy who I just can never quit in Cole Reagans, even with the injury stuff last year. I just adore watching him pitch. I adore having him on my team when he's healthy. I'm happy to get him paired with Gilbert at the turn here. So 2 pitchers, catcher, first base, and outfield. Welsh, what do you think of the start to this team?
I love the pitchers. That's what I wanted to go. So I don't love that you did that. I will point out, though, look at James Wood and Pete Crow kind of falling in this format.
If this was a larger outfielder league, I would have taken James Wood.
I think people are scared. Very interesting kind of development as James Wood just went, by the way. But like 5th round, even it's in the 40s, like when you're committing to 3 outfielders, people kind of scared, little bit scared. And I'm in a weird spot now, too. just simply because like there's an outfielder I really like in here, but I have not taken a pitcher yet, and I've got kind of the long turn that's about to happen. So I'm gonna take Jacob deGrom. I think deGrom has made the changes. He's added that changeup. They've lowered his spring routine. He was able to get his innings last year. I think the expectation is the same. And there's kind of like, if the Rangers don't win, he might be a trade. There might be a trade opportunity, and you know what that means, Dodgers. So, I'm for all intents and purposes, I think he's still got the big stuff. So getting him in the 5th round here as my first pitcher, I feel pretty good about that.
Kelly, do you have some confidence in deGrom this year? Another year older, the injury history isn't totally gone, but obviously he was good last year.
He was, but I've never been. Welsh and I have argued about this. I think every year we've known each other, that he calls me the biggest deGrom hater. And those 2 years where he threw like 14 total innings across both, I was winning. But yeah, he looked great. And I always say, like, I want him to do well, because watching him pitch in his prime was just amazing. And if he can keep it going, that's great. But I have trouble with his injury history. Just kind of makes me go, okay, we had a good year. So that's where I sit with him. Yeah.
This is sort of pitcher alley here. Only 4 pitchers taken in the first 29 picks, and now a bunch here, including 6 of the last 7. Kelly, what do you feel about this group of these 6 pitchers who have just gone? Woo, Gilbert, Reagans, deGrom, Webb, and Fried. Roughly the order they should be going? Would you have mixed that up drastically?
No, I wouldn't actually. Reagans, I also really like Reagans. I would maybe be a little bit more interested in Webb and Fried in front of him, again, because of the injury. And there went Crow Armstrong. But otherwise, like, this is the area where I normally start drafting pitchers, because I like this group so much.
Welsh, do you like your start waiting till round 5 for your first pitcher?
Yeah, this is what I'm going to do in like a 12 team, or a 15 team. Like 3rd round, I'm open to the 3rd round. 4th round is probably between the 3rd and 4th. I think I've said this, through 4 rounds, I will have 1 pitcher. I rarely will have more. If the circumstances fall in my lap and it's like, oh, hey, look, you can get Chris Sanchez and deGrom, or is it Chris Sanchez and Sale or something like that? I'm totally cool with that. But I want 1 through 4. So it's kind of an eye opener. I've said this a ton of times. What's really cool? If you do a 12-man home league, go do a 15-team mock. If you do a 10-man league, go do a 12-man mock, because then you start to test the limits of the players that you really like and make sure you get your players. And then when you actually get to it, you're like, oh my God, everybody's falling to me. This is a weird experience right now, doing a 10-man league and seeing the players that it's like, as we're building out the construction of our rosters and, picks are coming up, it's like, wow, there's still amazing players that are out there. I can still construct a really good roster, but it also can be very, it can be a disconnect that you've got to make sure in 10-man leagues, like, you really need to have the guys that stand out. Depth is cool, but depth isn't the play in 10-man leages. 10-man makers. Yeah, you want the difference makers. Exactly right. You want the big stolen bases, the big homers. You want the guys that really take the categories. Depth isn't as important because they're all flowing out there. There's tons of guys to get on the wire after in a 10-man.
Yeah. Opening day is almost here, and when the Major League Baseball season begins, join us every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern on the Fantasy Pros Twitch channel for Leading Off, your daily dose of fantasy baseball news, insights, and strategy. Ask questions, get insight, and interact live. Follow us now at twitch.tv/fantasypros and never miss a stream.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's a very, very fun show. We are about halfway through the 6th round here. Kelly, your last 2 picks, Wyatt Langford and Mason Miller, I believe, breaking the seal on relief pitchers here.
Love it.
Yeah, I love I love Langford this year. I think he's going to have a really nice season. So he kind of I like him as my outfielder 1 in a 10-team 3 outfielder league. And then in head-to-head, I always say that you basically just have to win 6 categories, right? So if you can clear all 5 pitching, you just need 1 in the offense. So I figured I'd start heading down that alley since I started with a pitcher. And I will not win this mock draft doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway for strategy.
Well, who are you hoping gets to you here? Just 1 pick away.
Well, it was Freddie Peralta, but that's out the freaking window. So can kiss that goodbye. I'm actually, I got to tell you, everything I just said, I'm in a little bit of a predicament of the whole, like, you really want to get the highest end of players, because this pitching run has been absolutely brutal.
I'm feeling good about having taken 2 already. I'm glad I actually wish for the run.
I think that's a lesson I just learned in a 10-man league is I want to be a little bit more aggressive on pitching because there's so much. I mean, look at the hitting value that's still out there. We're in the 6th round and it's Merrill and it's Abrams and, I mean, a bevy of infielders. The pitching doesn't feel the same way. Kirby, Peralta, and Joe Ryan just went. And it's just like we just had a fall off there. So I'm going to pivot a little bit and I am going to go and take one of the best closers like Kelly did. I love Kelly's double tap of Mason Miller and Wyatt Langford. I would have killed for Langford, but I got to try to pivot in some place because I think I'm going to be playing a little bit more the depth game now with my starting pitchers. So I want to make sure like I can dominate with closers and I can dominate in other spots.
Port's killing me. I was hoping to get, Merrill just kept falling, and I'm like, I'll happily take him if he gets back. And of course goes one spot ahead of me. I'm going to take Abrams. I don't have a shortstop yet. He's my favorite just player sitting there for my next pick.
It's tough when you're up and you have to kill the time here. Just don't take my guy. Whatever you do, take a guy. Just don't take my guy.
Just don't take your guy.
Take the one. Well,
I feel
like you're thinking about it. Back off.
I think given just the continued run on pitching, I'm going to take another pitcher. I'm going to take Luzardo. Just signed a big contract. In Philly, had a really good year last year. It was between him or Cease for me, and I'm going Luzardo. I could have gone either way. So I now have 3 pitchers on my team so far: Gilbert, Reagans, and Luzardo. Happy with that trio for sure. I don't think I took your guy, Welsh.
No, I don't know if I really had my guy. I'm very thrown back by the pitching. So again, I mean, you guys are going nuts with it. There's a part of me that feels the pressure of taking the starting pitcher just because of what everybody's doing. But on the other hand, I think I'm going to play pivot. And what I'm going to do for my next trick here, I don't love the pitching crop here. I'm not a big Framber Valdez guy who's at the top of the list here. I am battling between 2 players. I'm going to do this. He came up in the fest here. He is on my draft list. And I think the tier is about to fall off at first base. I'm taking Vinny Pasquantino. They brought the walls in, 35 plus homers, better batting average. I also want to pay a little bit more attention to having a guy like Schwarber. Someone in the chat was like, Schwarber's average. Well, I got Juan Soto. I trust Caminero's average. Vinny Pasquantino, just like try to keep the batting average up with like really big power numbers. And I think Vinny has another gear in him. And the tier of what was left at first base kind of fell off.
Well, I'm about to toss it to Kelly, but I want you to take a moment because there's a lot of names out here, which is why I'm giving you a second to think about it. Tell me one team other than yours that you really like the build so far.
Okay, yeah, I'll take a look.
While he's thinking about that, Kelly, who are you eyeing? Like you broke the seal on the relief pitchers. You have 2 starters already. Are you thinking more pitching here, given that it keeps flying off the board? Are you going back to get your 4th bat? What are you eyeing here?
Yeah, I mean, they're suggesting an outfielder to me as of right now, so I'm gonna wait and see where that goes. But I would have absolutely really no qualms at all with taking another closer, just to again lock into who are gonna get a bunch of saves and then start building out. Decide which of the hitting categories I'm gonna really go after, which it might be batting average at this point. But yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. It's just once apparently I started talking about the pitching situation and then everyone just went crazy. I also don't like this bunch that's in this area. So it's either closer or definitely just the best hitter I can get.
Welsh, whose team do you like so far? Just at a quick glance for me, I like Port. I like Jay Springer. Who stands out to you?
Yeah, so I do think we're a little bit in a space where I think a lot of the teams look kind of the same. And God, do I hate to do this, but Kelly's team I really like right now. I hate to give Kelly the benefit there, but you got the 2 great pitchers with a elite closer, Vlad Turner and Wyatt Langford. I don't think there's immense incredibleness out of that, but there's also like they're all good. There's all good batting average. They're all solid power. 2 of them are going to provide 20 plus stolen bases. She's not in the situation like I am with the starting pitching. So I think she's not giving herself enough credit here. I think she is going to rank pretty high. This is that whole well, thanks guys. It's over. I lost. And then, trying to, get the magic of the world to go on your side. I think that's what she's doing. I like hers. The other one I kind of liked was Diamond Dogs. because the entire infield is set with Olsen, Terang, Lindor, Michael Garcia, Kyle Tucker as one of the outfielders, and then Garrett Crochet is the starter.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit more like mine. But I like that. But I think Kelly's is the one that really stood out to me, unfortunately.
As soon as you said, I hate to do this, I was like, it's going to be either me or Kelly. And I don't think he likes my team enough for it to be me. So it's going to be Kelly.
Yeah, I got to relook at your team here.
Well, can I ask you, while you're looking at my team, Welsh, where is the right spot for Cal Raleigh? Because obviously he's the only catcher taken so far, clearly the best catcher. But we've had years in the past where the obvious catcher one has not lived up to that. Now they're not coming off quite the year that Raleigh is coming off of. But where is the right spot for Cal Raleigh?
It's a great question. Me and Enrico, we differ. We don't really agree on this. Where I see I mean, he put like as a likely bust. I'm not sure if the bust is there. The batting average is a real big question, but like, I don't look at Cal Raleigh and be like, well, catcher. It doesn't matter. Catcher doesn't matter to me with him. It's like, he's a 40+ home run hitter. I think the profile changed that. I just don't question that he's going to hit 40+ home runs. So it's like Kyle Schwarber, but he's a Kyle Schwarber as a catcher. And where should Kyle Schwarber, if he was a catcher, be at? If you really think the team, he's going to just decimate as a hitter, then maybe that changes. But like, so all that being said, in a 10-team league, like second, third round, like wheel. And if 12 or 15, the back end of a second round, I think you can do it. I'm not doing it in a lot of instances, but I highly suggest you go and play around with mocks and see how that ends up like looking for your team.
Yeah, let's just leave this comment up a little bit longer here from Jacob. The Worms team, such great base moving forward, stacked with power and solid starters. Just another one of my burners here in the chat.
Yeah. Your Oriole. Next question will be like, guys, we don't talk enough about Colton Cowser. Why are we not?
Let's do some keeper questions. We haven't done a lot of them. There's a lot of ones coming in the chat. Kelly, 2-player keeper, Woo in the 12th round, Skubal in the 1st, Kurtz in the 13th. You get 2 of them.
Oof. Kurtz for sure. For me, if you have Skubal, that would be really hard.
Don't care about the value, or
I don't know. It's like when you ask me those questions, and I'm just like, depends on if you're in win now position. I'd go Skubal and Kurtz. If not, then I would probably go Woo for value.
Welsh, what do you think?
I'm a pretty like elite, no doubt first round players. If they cost a first round, I'm probably going to take them. So I would say. This is really tough. I probably am Skubal and Kurtz, to be honest with you. Woo's awesome. And I think if you wanted to go Woo and Kurtz, I wouldn't. I
think Kurtz is easy. And then one of the pitchers, just the value.
I just think it's hard to like. Now, here would be the cool thing. If you put back Skubal and you could take him back, then that's an obvious answer. But I just, how can you leave Skubal back?
Yeah. Let's see. Let's get another keeper question in here. I thought I saw one.
All the players go.
Here's one. Keep or sell Mookie if I already have Gunner in an 8-team head-to-head fantasy league. Kelly, what do you think about that?
Well, first of all, I think we should be playing an 8-team league, since that's what our Insiders League is going to be for some godforsaken reason.
Don't do it. You're going to stir up a whole thing, Kelly.
Did Fitz message you guys too?
Yeah, we all got, you weren't. No. A certain individual, don't out anybody. A certain individual may have messaged some people about the 8-man league.
But all he did was interrupt a conversation I was already having with 2 or 3 others.
Whoever they are.
He messaged me.
Whoever they are.
And I said, by the way, he goes, I wonder if other people feel the same way as we do. I was like, I would bet my life savings that Kelly and Mayer and Welsh are all already talking about this.
Yeah. 2 12-man leagues or 3 8-man leagues.
Gotta go 8-man. There's just no other way to do it.
When you can do an 8-man league, you just don't pass it up, just like you would karate in the garage.
The only other thing I'll say about that, and then I'll answer this question, was just that every other year, some of us complain about certain things in baseball. And this year we're just like, we'll just complain to each other, and no one has commented on it in the actual channel, because we're just like
time and effort to actually set up the league. So it's like, how much can I complain? But come on.
Yeah. So anyway, it'll be fun. I don't think I've ever played in an 8-team league.
I was just about to ask you, have you ever played? I've never played in an 8-man league.
I played in an 8-team football league. I don't think I've ever done one for baseball, actually.
So yeah. So I mean, I guess the question is like, what do you have do you have a middle infield spot? And like, is this keeping him like in a certain round? Because obviously if you have Gunner, then I think Mookie's more expendable, but if you have a middle infield spot, I would be tempted to hold on to him because I think he's going to have a really nice bounce back here.
My last two picks here were George Springer and Nolan McLean at the turn. I have some very close friends who are diehard Mets fans who are, one of them said he wouldn't trade Nolan. He has it's like a, they keep depending on the cost. He has a $1 Nolan McLean. He said he wouldn't trade him for Paul Skeens or prime Francisco Lindor. So he's maybe a little bit out over his skis there. Where do you guys think is the right spot for the next kind of elite pitching prospect who, looks pretty good last year, Welsh?
Who is it again?
Nolan McLean.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was just making my pick here. I've loudly been the Nolan McLean guy. We did the live episode. That was my pick for the big breakout for the year, and he has proceeded to rise about 50 picks since we had that conversation, that live show, which you guys can watch on the YouTube channel. I think it's amazing. I think it's incredible stuff. He has not been. You know what his biggest challenge has been? Team USA, that game. That's the biggest challenge he's ever faced on that biggest stage. But he really hasn't faced crazy adversity with absolutely insane stuff. I think he is just going to walk right into like a top 25 SP season. So I'm very, very much into him. His cost is just becoming tough. It's like you're going to have to pay a really, really high price if you are going to want to be invested in Nolan McLean this year. I'm not against it. It's just, again, it's a super high price.
Yeah, it is one of those things too. Again, the nature of this league, 10 team, smaller. I'm willing to take these bigger swings because I trust myself to find depth if it doesn't work out, on the waiver wire later in the season. Well, so I'm gonna throw another keeper question your way. How about Bubba or Schlittler as a fifth keeper?
I'm a Bubba guy. Lots and lots of great. This would have been a great question to have when we had Lance on of where he would have gone because he ended up picking Cam Schlittler for a lot of really interesting reasons, but I think he did this thing of like, who's the big breakout pitcher, but they couldn't have a 2 WAR or higher. And Bubba was the guy. Like, so he's very much into Bubba. I'm a big Bubba guy. That would be my keeper. But I understand, like, from a wins perspective, Schlittler's in a much better spot, but I think Bubba is ready to like put out some elite stuff this year.
Kelly, do you have a preference?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked Schlittler last year, and you always have to be careful of saying that on these things.
Right there.
Yeah, but I like him. But the thing is I have listened to Welsh talk about Bubba Chandler for 2 years at this point, I think. And so he's got me a little more convinced that I think I would rather have Chandler at this point in that type of situation.
Let's see. Last couple. Oh, you took Seiya, Kelly. Getting your Cub there. I like Seiya here late 9th round. That feels pretty good.
Yeah, he's projected for 25 homers. He's going to hit in the middle of a pretty decent lineup. So the RBI, he gives me a little bit of an RBI boost, a little bit of runs boost. It's like he just sort of clears up. He puts me back in the running to be not the worst in all of those categories, but that'll probably be my last batter for a little bit.
And Kelly, you are currently top 5 in every pitching category. I would just like to point out, and you are struggling at hitting. But you do have a top 5 in your hitting as well. So you're doing really well for that. A very good early pole position for you to win. I don't remember if we even got a poll out of who we thought was going to win here, but I ended up going with Eugenio Suarez. I wanted to stack on the power. It was a big boost. If you check categories live, you can see your live category projections. It was a big boost to my RBI and runs, but I am struggling. I'm the worst projected batting average right now. So I'm going to have to kind of play with that. But I passed up a couple things I wanted to do. Kelly has ended up doing something I wanted and I thought about. You ended up taking 2 absolutely elite closers, which I wanted to do. And Devin Williams was who I wanted to pair with Edwin Diaz, and he went. So I've had like kind of a couple instances of strategies being taken away from me in a 10. So I'm, again, really good to challenge yourself by trying different formats. And it's like what works in a 15 is not working in a 10 necessarily.
This has been a real lesson for me in relief pitching. And I keep eyeing a guy, be like, all right, I want to take them next time. And then they go shortly before that next pick's like just a hair earlier than I was about to take them. Now I'm picking on the turn. So that's kind of the nature of picking there anyway. You have to either reach or get lucky, but Kelly going with the reliever I was going to take next to that point, exactly what I was about to do.
I would have taken him too. What this has been the most brutal run. Chase Burns, Strider, Bednar, Helsley, like holy crap, this run we just had.
Yeah, I think it's probably talking about all the pitching seems to just be like shoving the pitchers out. Cause I mean, I'm looking at these hitters going, we're in the 10th round and like they're still available. That seems outstanding to me, really.
Yeah. Let me throw another keeper question here. Is Caminero worth an 11th round keeper if you have Chris Sanchez in the 13th and Wu in the 20th, Kelly?
Yeah, I mean, I have minimal concerns about Caminero moving back to Tropicana. But in the 11th round of a third base, then I think that he would be my keeper unless you have unless the rest of your keepers are already like decent hitters, in which case I think Wu in the 20th is the other direction I would go. But just blindly like this, Caminero is my pick.
Yeah, what's the question? What's the question? Is Caminero like I don't need to know what anything else you have. Caminero in the 11th round, absolute no-brainer. He's a second-round pick, if not a first-round talent. So you're killing it, dude. You don't have to caveat anything. He is
something I would say to people, like, don't worry too much about like, oh, well, Sanchez is a 13th rounder versus an 11th. Like at that point in the draft, those two rounds are not that relevant. Just take the better player. Take the better value.
Agreed. I'm one pick away.
Yeah.
Get away from
my
players.
Had a lot of your queue, taken away from you, it sounds like.
There's not much of a queue left, if we're being honest. So, Justin, get out of here. Oh, that wasn't great. But we are going. I haven't filled out second base. I need stolen bases. He also hits. It helps me in average. I'm going to take Nico Horner, who I get yelled at a lot on the channel because I'm not like the biggest on, but he fits my team. He fits my team mold there. So Nico Horner, I now have an entire infield, and that boosted me up quite a bit for stolen bases. So that was a big, big boost for my team.
Yeah, I was high on Horner.
He was my other choice between it was Helsley or Horner for me, just to see what I wanted to boost up.
I think just given the nature of the position, I will take Alex Bregman because I do not have a third baseman yet.
I took two of them. I depleted the system with Caminero and Suarez. So
yeah, I really appreciated that one. I am really tempted.
Littering and
I am just gonna. I'm not going to take a reliever yet. I'm just going to keep waiting and have that be a problem area. I'm going to hopefully break Welsh's heart and take Emmett Sheehan.
That's the actual sound of
on the segment with you, hearing you talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, heart's a little broken.
That's the actual sound of a heartbreaking. Just
yeah. If you wanted to hear what it goes,
is it better? Is it better or worse, Welsh, than when we did our content team football league and one slot ahead of you I took Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah, that hurt a lot more because McCaffrey I think fell in that spot.
Yeah,
or not fell, but it was kind of divisive.
It was like 7th or 8th. Yeah, it wasn't like top 3 or anything. Yeah.
Not happy about it. Thanks, buddy.
What do you while Welsh is on the clock here, Kelly, let me ask you, what do you think about like what I'm doing here where I'm pretty strong in starting pitching and I'm still just kind of leaning into that, making it even further of a strength, as opposed to maybe reaching on a closer I didn't love to try and get some relief pitching that I don't already have? What do you think about that philosophically?
In a head-to-head league, 10 team for sure, but in a head-to-head league, if you're not going to do saves, then don't do saves. You can punt it almost immediately. And at this point, for you not having that, I would totally stack my starters and then later see if you could pick up a couple saves or just get really high elite ratio guys toward the end.
What do you think, Welsh? Similar thought philosophically?
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about head-to-head and, if you're doing like head-to-head category playoffs is like you can just kind of skip in categories. Like when Roto does press you a little bit more, that it's like you just want to kind of keep up with the Joneses a little bit. I just definitely don't like to be pressed into having to do things in drafts. So you know what I mean? So when like runs happen, I really hate where everyone's like, oh, well, I'm going to pass on all these great players because people are doing this. Like I don't like runs or people or whatever like dictating how I'm going to do my draft, and sometimes that fails for me because then like I kind of did that with starting pitching. I was just like, I'm gonna just keep going, and it's like if we stack up our starting pitchers, I'm not going to be in the top 5. I'll be in the bottom half because I don't love what I did with pitching, but it was also because like I wasn't letting anybody else kind of dictate the team. So yeah, if you've already not been on saves, you might as well just play the low saves game, that type of stuff.
Yeah. Question here from Jacob Welsh. Why is Framber going after Cease and Bradish? What is the stink on him?
I'm not the biggest Framber guy. I actually just did a little video, or I wrote up one of Kelly would have posted one of the articles you guys can check out. But it's a bad splits. I mean, there's kind of a stink on what he did with his catcher and not being able to get a deal. And I drafted him, by the way. I'm the one that took him, so I'm not like trying to put him really on any of my teams. I just kind of took the upside on the innings and stuff like that, but I'm a little bit worried he's like a 4 ERA pitcher moving forward. And by the way, someone said I look like I need a coffee. Do I look tired? I mean, I've been on here for 4 hours, but I think I'm not.
You look burned. You don't look like you need a coffee.
I think they're commenting on the tan everyone else keeps commenting on, and the fact that your eyes therefore look a little paler. So
yeah, well, it's just I wear sunglasses.
Yeah. The bags under your eyes are actually tan lines.
Yeah, they're just like tan lines. Do I look burned or do I look suntan?
No, you look like you got some sun. Is the
like George? Was it George Hamilton? Was that remember who I'm talking about?
I don't.
No.
God, who's I'm gonna look this up. Like major tanned celebrity.
I know who you're thinking of.
You know who I'm talking about, right?
I know who you're talking about, but I don't know.
It is George Hamilton. I'm 100% right. I'm amazing at my call.
I don't know that I've ever heard that name in my entire life.
If you look him up, you'll know who he is.
You'll know exactly who he is. He's like super old.
Yeah, you do kind of
good call by me. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
You win the Hamilton portion.
You know what? There's a lot of Hamiltons out there right now, so that's a hard one to pull. Aging me.
Let's get another question here from Matt. Polar Bear leading league in RBI. Will that be Welsh's big bet this year with the streak on the line?
Yeah, that's true. So I do have a 2-year streak. I actually am going to dig in. I'm going to, that has to be the dig in because we've got some of the Betting Pros episodes coming up. But what was, crap, I don't even remember what 2 years ago was. 2 years ago was Ellie to lead the league in stolen bases, cashed. Last year it was Garrett Crochet to lead the league in strikeouts, cashed. I don't think it'll be Pete Alonso on the RBI front, but we will dig in. I could see that as like a top 10 as we kind of break down what are the ones we really like. Kind of lean a little bit. Maybe there's a Chandler Simpson stolen base or some decent market on that. But yeah, we will try to get the bet of the year in. Make sure you guys are locked over on Betting Pros, and we will try to make it 3 for 3.
For sure. Let's see.
I took Zach Wheeler, by the way. I needed upside 10-man league.
I think there's a lot of
I have a lot of depth. And Emmett Sheehan went, and I took Zach Wheeler because he can be an absolute frontline, high-end starter for me. And just because of the amount of depth in this 10-man, like I can make up for the injuries. So I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to do that in some of these formats.
Yeah, and I took 2 hitters, mostly just because I feel like everyone really started pushing on the pitching, and I'm not abandoning my strategy. I just know where I can pick it up later. So I took a guy with projected 25 steals, and then a guy who projected 25 plus home runs. And so again, it just kind of gives me a little oomph in those categories, and they shouldn't kill my average. So,
dang right. Dang right. By the way, reminder to everybody as we're coming to a close. We got a little bit, probably should have been 30-second picks. That's my bad. So if we can speed that up. But we've got the after party over on Twitch. If you guys didn't get in this draft and you guys want to draft more, we got our boys Bogman and Rico.
I think we have a link in the chat already, actually, if people want to start getting signed up for that.
Yeah, we need to roll through our picks.
Yeah, I was actually just looking at that. I was like, we have a lot more picks.
There's way too many picks here to be had. I'm going to do something I am kind of a big fade on here, but am I getting no? Hold on, I'm not going to do that. Never mind.
We need to speed it up. Or
you're making while you're making
it up. I made my
pick. Kelly, do you like King or Gore? They just went as back-to-back in terms of pitchers here in this last round. That was a question we got earlier.
I was really big on Michael King last year, and I've kind of swung to Gore this year, and I'm not really sure why. I had Gore last year, and the first half was just so good that I was like, man, if he can put that together, like even giving just a little bit, like being a little bit less that good on strikeouts. So between the two, I would rather have Gore, but that's a close. I could take either one on a coin flip.
Did you say a little? I like that, a little less good.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Just a little bit. All right, we have a winner to announce here. Make sure I got the name correct. The winner of the Juan Gonzalez Rangers jersey giveaway is Joseph N31. Please get in touch with our customer support agents at mailbag@fantasypros.com with your mailing address and a screenshot of your YouTube account page while logged in. Once we confirm that, we will get your prize shipped out. Again, congratulations to Joseph N31.
I think he's in this with us too.
New jersey right there.
You in here, Joseph? I just took Blake Snell, so hell just froze over. Just want to point out. There he is. There's Joseph. Congratulations. Big winner. Joseph been here since, I think, the minute we started. So congrats, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been very active, so that's awesome. Yeah, I can't believe you took Blake Snell. What gives?
At 10-man league, I screwed up with the lack of the high-end pitching. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to make up for guys that, I can stream in any type of these formats. You can IL players. Unfortunately, I'm now looking and I've got at least 2 pitchers I may have to IL at the start of the season, but they've also got the upside of being top 15 type of pitchers. So I just feel with the depth I'm going to be able to put together, it makes more sense to. And it's also not roto. I can bag these guys for a tiny bit for the back half of the season. So not something I'm super, super into in most instances, but I kind of failed at my starting pitching. So I'm taking another, I'm just taking a different type of swing at it. And I'm experimenting to see what this looks like because I just really don't want to take Blake Snell. But I'm also not black and white in that, I don't truly believe, and there are players that are off lists and you would never draft and stuff like that. Like scenarios dictate it. So.
Well, Welsh, Pepio just went. Do you like him or Schlittler better?
I think Pepio's safer. I think Schlittler's got more upside. So I think they're pretty close to each other. Pretty compelling case from Lance Brozdowski for Schlittler, though. I probably lean him.
Yeah, it's pretty. Once Lance starts talking about a guy, I'm like, yeah, I think I'll take a swing on him.
Yeah. There's like 200 guys I want to have now. Exactly. Yeah. I won't be taking Chase Dolander, though. I can promise you that. In a 10, a 12, a 15, a 24, a 30, an NL only, or an NL West only league.
This has been another round of pitching. Only one non-pitcher in the entire round 13.
Wow.
So just very much an arms race here at this stage in the draft. Kelly, how are you feeling about your staff now that we're, a few pitcher picks in? Of course, starting off with Skeens and Sale, and then going really reliever heavy. How do you feel about your arms?
I'm feeling pretty good. Again, there are pitchers in this range because I usually wait on them. There are pitchers in this range I'm pretty familiar with that I'm targeting. So I that's one of the reasons I picked up a couple hitters. Again, they're falling because everyone is in the arms race suddenly. And yeah, so I'm still pretty happy with the direction I'm going, even if I'm not at the top of all the categories. I think I can finish it out and get there. So
Trey Savage goes here. Welsh, where are you ranking the postseason hero?
I'm a little bit down on him. They're already talking about wanting to cap some of the season, so I'm not overtly excited. He's kind of on the lower tier of all those really young arms. Like I would take Bubba over him right now, so he's at the bottom list of that.
It's funny. I just noticed I'm looking at some of the older questions that maybe we didn't get to earlier in the stream. One of them is about 8-team leagues. Hello, I am new to fantasy baseball. I have an 8-team league I got invited to with keepers. How should I approach? What should I do with my early picks? Should I focus on someone younger early? What would you guys give us some advice for somebody in this format, but specifically who is brand new to fantasy baseball? Kelly, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to focus on someone. They don't have to be like younger. I'm still fine. I don't know. Soto is what? Is he still 23? He seems like he's just always going to be 23.
He's like 28, but yeah.
He's like 28. But I mean, you don't have to necessarily be afraid to take a Judge or afraid to take an Ohtani. These are the best players. It's good to get a base. But yeah, I mean, if you have a choice, like I'd say, 4th-ish round, 5th-ish round, somewhere in there, that's where I start to kind of pay a little bit of attention to age. If there are 2 players that I like pretty much equally, then I'll go with the younger one. But in general, I'm a big fan of, trying to win and then going from there. So
you like winning. I do. That is an interesting strategy.
I never knew that about you.
Well, some may say I'm a little compulsive about it. No, but I think it's a thing that I said to Worm, who loves to play in dynasty leagues, right? And my issue, one of the things when people ask me dynasty questions, I'm always like, look, yeah, I know this is the thing, but are you going to win? Like, it's great to collect prospects over and over and over and over and over, but like at some point, you know, are you winning these leagues, or do you just have the best prospects? And so that's where I would start, at least in terms of youth.
You definitely have to have a plan. Like I don't care if you want to like punt, or you want to be like, hey, I only want guys 25 or under or whatever, but you need to go in with a plan. I'm not a big fan of like all over the board where I'm like, hey, I'm taking Jacob deGrom and then I'm taking Connor Griffin, you know, in Dynasty. Like I just like have a theme and try to stick with that strategy. I'm not sure if taking like 4 or 5 prospects that haven't debuted and then like 6 or 7 guys that are 34 years or older, like really mesh super well.
Well, speaking of Connor Griffin, he did go in this last round, and I want to get your guys' opinion on that because this is as hyped as a prospect has been coming into the majors in some time. You talk to some baseball, you know, analysts and like prospect evaluators, and they're putting him in the same conversation as like Mike Trout in 2012. So, Welsh, I'll start with you as like kind of the prospect forward guy. In a redraft league, round 14, a prospect on this level, but who doesn't have that much experience, what do you think about it?
I think this is in a 10 man. You're asking me in this league, right?
Yeah, in this
one we're doing. Yeah. Hey, we said it. I think in a 10-team league, like I've said with a lot of other guys, you have the ability to just make up with the depth. So if you think he's going to break camp or he's going to be close, we've talked about, I mean, Jeff Ponce essentially came on here and said he could be a 20-40 guy if he's playing the entire season. So by virtue of that, like he's going up, he's not going to last a whole lot of time. And you know what? It's easier to make up for Connor Griffin in this format than it is in a 15-team league. So I'm not really down with that in a 15-team league because I think there's less assurances. And frankly, like I just want to pick my spots on my big ups and downs. I'd rather take like JJ Weatherhold like 50, 60 spots later. But in a 10-team league, I think it's totally fine.
Kelly, you're on the clock here, but once you make your pick, I want to get your opinion on Griffin too.
Oh,
yeah, I'm. Oh, by the way, I just picked Sal Perez, really going after stolen bases. But I really like him. I think that this is the right angle in a 10-team league. You're at a point where if there's somebody you want to take a chance on, I would go for it, because if he does pan out, if he does work out and they bring him up in time and et cetera, then I mean, look at what you have. Like it's a steal on one hand, and it's also exciting. I mean, one of the other things I was going to tell the person who just said they're just starting getting in fantasy baseball is like, it is okay to take players you like. Like, I mean, if there's a player you want to have on your team and it's like, it's showing up as this is a possibility in this area, like I wouldn't take Connor Griffin first overall. But like, if that's a guy you want for a keeper league, then take him. Then it's important sometimes to have players that you'd like to cheer for just every so often. And in a team, I feel like you can do it.
There's no way we can shorten the clock mid-draft.
I was trying. I thought in a 10-team league, this was going to be a lot easier to plow through, but this is not. I don't know what I was thinking putting this in a minute. It's 100% my fault. If everybody could go quicker, that would be great. I also wish I can't do this. I wish I could just we could just sim the bench. Like that would be great if we just sim the bench for the
cut off some of these rounds at the end or something.
Yeah, let me refresh this. Maybe I can. Usually I can get into the tools, but go ahead.
I was going to just bring up Trevor Rogers as another interesting name that goes here in round 15. I mean, like borderline could have been the Cy Young if he had done what he did just for longer of the season. His second half last year was incredible. Obviously with Baltimore, like it took him a while after the trade to Baltimore, but they did kind of get him back to even much better than he had been, back a few years ago when he first broke out onto the scene. I think the 15th round, I mean, obviously it's a 10-team league, but I think this range is a really good value. I want to see him not do it before I just assume he's going to regress some. Of course, he's not going to have an ERA under 2, but I want to see him be bad again before I just assume he's going to turn into a pumpkin. Like, I think this is great value for a guy who was like one of the 5 best pitchers in baseball statistically in the second half of the season last year, Kelly.
Yeah, no, I'm in danger of having him in too many leagues at this point, and I've only started drafting like 3 or 4 slow drafts. I'm just taking him everywhere, and I talked about this in one of the other mocks where I loved him when he was in Miami. I hated watching what happened to him, and so like last year I was like, this is the guy that I thought he was. And so yeah, I'm buying into it. Like I said, I'm gonna have to eventually get a couple leagues where I don't have him in case it doesn't work out, but I'm good with him everywhere at this point.
It's funny, Welsh, I asked Kelly what she thought about it. You are, of course, the one who made the pick of Trevor Rogers.
Yeah, I mean, I had two guys in my queue. The other guy went. Trevor Rogers' his high strikeout upside looked like he was back. That's the type of thing. That's what I'm talking about. When I take those risks of, even though I don't love Snell and Zach Wheeler, it's pairing them with guys that I think are primed early on. And I think Trevor Rogers is primed early on. I think I was in a really good spot. And we need our boys to go, by the way.
You've taken 5 pitchers in a row, Welsh. So you've definitely been leading into the arms after going more hitter heavy early. Trying to see if there's any other trends that stand out. I mean, it's just obviously this is color coded, so you can see like there's a lot of this pinkish, whatever color this is for pitching on the draft board in the last few rounds. It has really been kind of the theme for the last handful of rounds or so here.
Our biggest trend has been slow drafting from everybody in here. That has unfortunately been.
We gave them the opportunity to draft. I didn't even start the draft right at the top of the hour because I was like, oh well, it'll go quickly, right? Like we can give it a minute or two, let people get in there.
Yeah, it should go. We need our boys to step up so we can roll through. We do have, because we've got the Twitch after party, which is I don't know if the guys said they're starting it right now or it's going to be starting up where you guys can draft, but we don't want people to leave us. We also want to see the scorecards, but we are not even into the bench, so we're battling. Do we need to pause the draft and stop at the starters, or do we just plow through it?
Well, let's see. It looks like some people might be leaving soon, and maybe they turn to auto picks, and it starts to go a little quicker. We'll give it a couple rounds here and see kind of where we're standing. But yes, that Twitch stream, they're going live on Twitch right now. It is starting right this minute. They're going to wait about 15 minutes to start drafting, so you don't have to hop in there right yet. If you want to go draft with Bogman and Enrico over there, you want to stick around, see how this thing finishes out, see who wins the rankings between us. I think early on in the poll, I was like getting 12% of the vote or something, so probably not me. We do have a question here from Joseph. Need some prospecting with the Welsh. What are your thoughts on Bryce Eldridge?
Love Bryce. I think it's huge power. I'm a little bit worried positionally what they're going to do and some of the signings. I think he's just an elite bat prospect. Like, you know what I think is going to happen with Bryce Eldridge? I think we're going to get fatigue. I think we're going to have like a overall fatigue that's going to end up happening with him. And I think people are going to like be out and he's going to be a post hype sleeper. Like if he struggles a little bit, I think that bat is super, super elite with super power, like 40 plus power potential. We'll see if San Francisco brings it back. We might be a year early on him, but I think he's pretty interesting. And I just took Chandler Simpson for all the
I was just going to say, Welsh, man, I thought I could wait another time. I'm picking on the turn. I should know I can't wait an extra round. I love Chandler Simpson. I think it's a great pick.
Yeah, I've been doing this in a lot of drafts. If you've seen, I take these big power players. Suarez is usually one of them. Give me a couple of those big 40 crazy home run guys. And then let me take Chandler Simpson, who I think can lead the league in stolen bases. He helps my batting average. We haven't done this in a couple years, but that whole like combo, we used to do this back in the day. I'm trying to remember who it was. It was like maybe like Billy Hamilton and Judge or whatever, but it's like put Eugenio Suarez and put Chandler Simpson together. And that's, what do you get? You probably get a 250 hitter, 260 hitter. You're going to get probably 45 homers. You're probably going to get 60 stolen bases, so it's like taking two players to create this mega guy. And I think Chandler Simpson is like a really good one to pair with something like that. And I have done that like literally everywhere.
I used to do for a while, Schwarber and Arise. Like for a few years, that was I would take Schwarber way early, and then I would make sure to get Arise, and it was just like they even each other out a little bit.
By the way, Shane Baz is a great pick here in the 18th round. I love the upside getting out of that ballpark, and obviously I think with a good lineup behind him, I'm a big fan of that.
Makes me mad.
Yeah. By the way, before we do get out of here, I do need to let everybody know that today's show is brought to you by our sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. If you haven't tried your first bet on Hard Rock Bet, then sign up today and double your winnings on your first 10 bets for wagers of $50 or less. That's right. If you've won $100 on a same game parlay, you can make that $200. The Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app is the only legal sportsbook for whenever you're in Florida. It's also live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, Colorado, and Michigan. It's coming soon to more states too. Plus, Hard Rock Bet offers new promos daily. So whenever you're listening, just open the app and check out what they've got any day of the week. Download the Hard Rock Bet app and make your first deposit today.
Oh, baby, our boys are killing us here. So if we want to get this finished, we're going to need everyone to roll it.
We do have a couple auto picks, which will hopefully get us going pretty quickly here.
How do we think this is going to look? What do you think the order is going to be?
I don't know.
Between us three.
I think I will be in last. I think it'll go Kelly, Welsh, Worm.
You are ahead of me, Worm, in four of the 5 hitting categories right now. Just pointing out. Okay. And you are ahead of me in 3 of the pitching categories. So I think you're in a much better spot than I am.
Maybe I will end up doing better than I thought. I finally, by the way, take my last hitter. I had not taken a second baseman yet. Edwards, second base eligible. Even though he's listed there as a shortstop on the screen. So I do finally have my starting lineup kind of filled out here and fully into the bench territory. By the way, taking Hunter Green here, obviously the injury stuff going on. Given the format, it's not roto. I'm willing to there's going to be a lot of good players available to make up for it in the meantime. B, if he does come back strong in the second half, maybe that ends up looking really good. Maybe it doesn't. In a league like this, I'm willing to take that chance. Speaking of kind of risky names though, like Shane McClanahan, obviously going to you, Welsh.
Yeah, go back to the episode with Nick Pollock and everybody. I'm a little bit worried about the last start where McClanahan's kind of velo and shapes were a little bit weird. But he's healthy. He's out there throwing. I don't know if he's fully ramped up. He's got top 20 pitching upside. I have put together way too much injury risk on my pitching staff, but he's also on my bench in the 10-team league. So that's kind of the little balance there. I just thought he was too good of a value. I 1,000% though would have taken Zach Gallen, who I think was 1 pick before. So I was between Gallen and Green, and honestly, trying to speed through this, I just didn't give it much thought and clicked Green, but I very strongly was considering Gallen there as well. That feels like pretty good value at this end of the 18th, early 19th. I mean, Hunter Green's a pretty big risk, but
it's a risk. Again, this is the type of format where I would take that risk.
Right. I agree with you.
The right type of league. Rather than focus on the picks being made, let's speed through the kind of remaining questions we have starred here and get through these. So we'll go in order here. Would you do Tucker or Carroll, Yamamoto, and Max Clark for Ohtani the batter? It is a keeper league. Only pitcher kept would then be Freddie Peralta and would also have William Contreras. So would you do Tucker or Carroll, Yamamoto, and Max Clark all for Ohtani the hitter, Kelly?
Would I do that for that? Yes. I would basically trade almost anyone for Ohtani the hitter. But yeah, I don't know what to do with Kyle Tucker this year. I've been avoiding him kind of everywhere. That does seem like a lot to give up for Ohtani though. So I don't think I would do it in that one case. Because that's too much. And yeah, I think I would just Tucker or Carroll. I would keep Tucker or Carroll, Yamamoto or Max Clark. Is that the question? They have them? Already?
Yeah, I think it would give up one of Tucker or
they have to give up Kyle Tucker, Yamamoto, and Max Clark, or Corbin Carroll, Yamamoto, Max Clark to get Ohtani. I don't think I would do it.
Yeah, I don't think so. That's I didn't. It's hard to max that out, but I wouldn't do that for one.
I wouldn't really do the pick I'm about to make if it was a real draft because I already have Cal Raleigh, but this is too late for Adley Rutschman. I'm just making a stand here.
Hey, you're on the bench.
Back in a big way. It's it's not like you're ever starting him over Cal Raleigh, but I just think that's ludicrous that he's going to the 20th round. I'm expecting a big year from Adley.
We are in ludicrous speed time. That's what I am down to do here.
All right. Well, you make your pick. Kelly, what do you think? Thoughts on Imai, and prefer him or Sandy or Trevor Rogers?
Yeah, I'm still I'm have him above Rogers. I think I have him, or I'm sorry, I have him below both of them. For myself, just the unknown factor for me. I'm a little concerned about his whip. I for sure I could put him a little bit above Alcantara if I really dug into it a little bit further, but at this point, I would put him third.
Welsh.
What was the question? Sorry.
Would you prefer Sandy or Trevor Rogers or Imai?
100% both of those over Imai. Bogman's the Imai guy. I'm a little negative on Imai. I don't know how the reverse splitter is going to end up working, and legitimately the 80, 90, 100 projected innings. I can't with that. So
Welsh, while I pull up the next question, walk me through your last 2 picks, both outfielders.
Yes, I took. Who did I take? I took Dalen Lyle, who we talked about on the show earlier, and Mike Trout. Mike Trout's very divisive. Listen, I'm just a buy when he's just free 99. You know, the upside of like if he is healthy and he gets that contact bat, he still did hit a bunch of homers. I can't quit Mike Trout. And in an instance where I don't have to depend on him as a starter, I think even more reason why I want him on my bench. So he was a pretty easy pick for me.
Yeah, I think if you have good IL spots, and I don't mean this as a joke, like you assume that he's going to miss a little bit of time, but when he's healthy, like he can still do all the Mike Trout stuff. So yeah, at this point when he's in round 20 and below, yeah, just take him. I think you're in good shape there.
It's too hard not to.
Mm-hmm.
Another question here was offered Shea Langoliers for Bradish, 12-team, 10-keeper Roto League with 2 catchers, has Chris Sanchez and Perez as the other pitchers. Would you trade Bradish for Langoliers?
If you're 2-catcher league, yeah, you can probably do that in a 2-catcher.
Yeah, if you're getting Langoliers, I would take it.
Yeah. All right, we're almost there. Probably not going to do a full team breakdown or anything like that, but let's at least see the grades.
By the way, while I make my pick, Welsh, what are your thoughts on J.R. Ritchie with all the Braves pitcher injuries?
I like J.R. Ritchie. I also like Owen Murphy that's on the team as well. Herschel Waldrop going or getting hurt doesn't help the situation. I'm just not sure if Ritchie. I don't love Ritchie or any of those guys for this year. I think they pressed those guys really earlier, Didi or Fuentes, but I like J.R. Ritchie long term.
Another question here for you, Kelly. What about Yohan Moncada as a sleeper?
Yohan Moncada now.
Oh, no, I don't tend to like him all that much. I mean, that's a deep sleeper, but he qualifies at third, right? So if you waited way too long on a corner infielder in a league like that, then I suppose. But no, nothing. He doesn't do anything for me.
Rapid fire these last 3 questions. Dynasty Keeper League. Need 2 keepers. Harper, Turang, Riley, Michael Garcia, or Mizorowski. Already have Skeens. Welsh.
Need 2. I would go with, like Michael and Riley, maybe.
Kelly, which 2 for you?
Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
I would do.
I told you.
I might do Turang and Garcia. Unless I really want Mizorowski out of that group.
That's a pretty good
look at us.
Scott White from CBS really likes my draft. Joey P thumbs downs my draft, so I'll take that any day of the week. Kelly, you also gave me a thumbs down. My draft,
I feel like I give everyone a thumbs down.
I liked my draft more than anybody, and the second biggest hater was Kelly Kirby. So I literally called it that my drafts will be I love it, Kelly hates it. That's how it goes. I got a B. I finished in 4th here.
Welsh liked my draft, but my top draft guy was Ariel Cohen, and I'll take that all day. So
yeah, he also gave me a thumbs down, which is
pretty good.
Not great. All right, 2 more questions here quickly that we had starred, and then we'll get out of here. O'Neal Cruz or Joe Ryan? Cruz in round 24, Joe Ryan in round 14. You can see the other keepers on the screen. Guys like Judge, Bregman, Jazz, Schwarber, Seager, James Wood. But Cruz at 24 in the 24th round or Joe Ryan in the 14th?
Joe Ryan. That's a winning team. That's a team that's trying to win right now.
Yeah, I agree. Joe Ryan.
All right, last one here. Francisco Alvarez, Carter Jensen, or Gabriel Moreno, OPS League.
That might be Francisco Alvarez, actually, but I don't know. I like Moreno. I'm going to just say Moreno.
Yeah, I like Moreno's average. I think
I'd go Moreno, too.
But in an OPS, I might.
Yeah, the OPS.
I might take it. Yeah, I might take it the upside of Alvarez on that one.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to get out of here. Welsh, you did this the whole day, so well done. Nice, great fest. For everybody, just to pull back the curtains, Welsh did like a lot of the planning this year, booking guests, laying out everything. And obviously, it was pretty much on the entire show. So shouts to him for a super fun and successful fest. Any like, if there's one piece of advice you could give on the way out, which is one tidbit that you want to give the listeners that you learned today, what is it, Welsh?
Oh man, that I learned. I mean, if anything, I think you guys should follow your process and you should experiment. I really do think like figure out what it is you like. And if you don't know what it is you like, and I mean by players and team construction, maybe formats, maybe you're going to start a league and you don't know, not to be like a total tool about this, but go and check out what we've got like with Draft Assistant and Draft Wizard. You can go in, you can play around, you can experiment with different formats and different ways. And these are powered by like all of our rankings here and a lot of the people that we had on the show. So go and play around and find the best, the best drafting format. And you can also go do that right now, because I think in about a minute or two, they're going to start up over on the Twitch for the after party with Rico and Bogman. But make sure just to put in a little bit of that work, and we try to make it as easy as possible for you.
Kelly, 10 seconds. One piece of advice you want people to walk away from.
Get your guys. If there's two guys that are similar and there's one you like better, get him. You don't have to try to make it perfect. And whatever build you decide to go, just stick with it once you're in it.